disclaimer before I do the impressions. So, okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
Hey, Facebook. Today we have originally from Connecticut, working up the ranks in the Comedy Store and God knows wherever else in Los Angeles. We got Jeffrey Peterson. Hi, Jeffrey.
Hey, how you doing?
Wonderful. The background looks like you're the president.
Oh, wow. Well, the president of the new anarchistic faction of the United States.
Yes.
Maybe the post-apocalyptic president.
But I remember the good old days when the word Trump was a verb.
Yeah, it used to be a verb, and I remember when Bush was a noun, not a psychotic group of family that where it's hell bent on our destruction. So, crazy how it goes, right?
So I feel sometimes that Alec Baldwin is the president doing an impression of Trump. What do you think?
Well, I think Alec Baldwin's impression is lousy. If you want my real opinion, I don't think he does a very good Trump impression.
Really? Tell me.
Far better impression than he does.
Really?
Yeah, I could have taught him how to do it. He's way too confident in his ability to do Trump. He goes way off page. He's doing Alec Baldwin is what he's doing.
Gotcha.
And let's face it. I mean, I'm a TV connoisseur. When you're going to do an impression of a president, you got to bring some nuances to it. And I'll be doing some presidential impressions today. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Alec Baldwin's presidential impression, and I think Saturday Night Live has kind of fallen by the wayside when it comes to that. I mean, certainly doesn't hold up to Phil Hartman's Bill Clinton, or Will Ferrell's Bush, or going way back, to someone like Randy Quaid when he used to do Reagan, or Harry Shearer. There's a lot of
Wow.
like I would put above Alec Baldwin. He's a good actor, but
Yeah. I like to get lost in a character, and I it's true. I'm always noticing it's Alec Baldwin. You're absolutely right.
Well, there's some great impressionists out there. One of my favorites, speaking of SNL, is a former SNL cast member, Jeff Richards, who's a friend of mine. Jeff Richards is incredible.
I love him.
Robert Downey Jr. and his Dustin Hoffman are just impeccable. I mean, they're scary. My friend Dante is a great impressionist. Kevin Pollak. These are guys that I look up to, and it's impressionism is kind of a weird thing nowadays. It's not, it's not as popular as it was. It's harder to get people to use their imagination. And most people don't know the difference between an impressionist and an impersonator.
What is the difference?
Well, an impressionist does an impression of the voice of that character, of that celebrity. An impersonator, like SNL or Mad TV or those kind of programs, they dress up as the character and become the character. It's an entire persona. That's an impersonation. That's far different than an impression.
Wow.
So, so I mean, no, I don't look like the people that I'm going to do an impression of, but I certainly sound like them.
Got it.
And, I got challenged a couple weeks ago to do Danny DeVito.
No
which
way.
was way out of my wheelhouse. I've never even thought of doing a Danny DeVito impression, although I like him very much. I don't try to do impressions that are outside of my range or thought process. If they come to me, they come to me, and then I do them. So that was interesting, and I was surprised how many people thought I sounded like Danny DeVito, which made me feel good. But I wanted to challenge you to do an impression today. I'm going to put you on the spot. You can even think about it for a minute, but somebody that I've worked with who ran for president in 2012, Roseanne. that's right, Roseanne Barr.
Oh.
Yeah, guys, I want to hear you do, like, do some Roseanne and junk, You kicked her off her own show and all that crap and junk.
Cool.
I was on the Roseanne talk show once. I did a scavenger hunt in Farmers Market in LA on the Roseanne talk show. That was pretty fun.
That's fun. Oh my gosh. Roseanne's a real character, isn't she?
She is, and she's also kind of upset too. She's starting to show her true colors because they railroaded her. She was the #1 female TV star in the world, with the exception of Oprah, if you count her, and I don't. They really screwed Roseanne over. I mean, she was the queen of sitcoms, and they railroaded her just like they did with Valerie Harper back in the day. Valerie Harper had her own show until they just pushed her right out of it. So it's despicable. Hollywood, I've come to realize Hollywood is not what I aspire to be part of anymore. I being famous is the last thing I want. Entertaining people is great, but I don't need to be famous because I don't need the headache, and I don't want to rub shoulders with some of these despicable people.
Exactly. I don't want to be around people that aren't good people, so I'm glad I ran into you.
And all it takes me is to find out that you've done something heinous, and I don't care how great you were, or how great your album is, or how funny you were, or whatever, how entertaining your movie is. Sorry, Tom Hanks, I'm not interested anymore.
Exactly.
So, here's one of the things. Speaking of celebrities, I got kicked off of a podcast three nights ago with a comedian named David Berger that I've known for 15 years. He kicked me off of his podcast abruptly because he thought it was okay to trash Ice-T. Now, I've known Ice-T for 30 years. Ice-T is a literal friend of mine. He's actually done quite a bit for me over the years, and I'm very loyal to my friends. He thought it was okay to trash Ice-T in front of me because he was the host and it was his show. And I said, no, I don't want to be on your show if you're going to trash my friend. And he cut me off. And then he proceeded to trash me as soon as I left the show because I went back on. And that's, so rest assured, Linda, if anybody ever talked trash about you, I would defend you to the end.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I try to treat people the way I want to be treated,
Right. And as far as impressions go, I love doing celebrity impressions. I'm not sure what direction Las Vegas is going to go in. There's a part of me that thinks Bugsy Siegel's dream might be over. There's a lot of talk that Vegas might not ever be the same from some of the things that they're saying. I mean, they intend to test everyone's temperature before they walk into a casino. That will not work, okay? You're not going to get drunk people that are trying to shuffle from casino to casino to have a good time, willy-nilly, to have to be, frisked and tested every time they go somewhere. This will collapse. Vegas will be a literal ghost town. But that's okay with me because I'm a wherever comic. I'm a speakeasy comic. I performed at Burning Man and Wasteland Weekend and out at festivals in the middle of fields. I'll perform in your backyard or your living room. I don't care. I'm a troubadour of comedy. And so what I intend to do, though, is if Vegas does come back, is to bring the next direction of the impressionist to Las Vegas. I was very fortunate to catch Rich Little's show here. Rich Little's still going strong. But the thing I've noticed is 90% of the people he does impressions of are already dead.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, which is neat, but I think it's time that there's a contemporary version for Las Vegas, and I'd like to bring that. And I mean, of course, no disrespect to Rich Little, because he's one of my idols in that regard. But so today, I've decided no jokes, just straight from my impression book.
Cool.
The impression show that I have in mind for Vegas will include over 100 impressions within an hour span. So I'm just gonna go rail these off now. I've given you a couple minutes to think about it. Before I do, I want to hear your Roseanne impression.
Okay. I have to get into character. Don't.
Yeah, you gotta think like a domestic goddess and John Craig.
Here's my best.
There you go. Get into it.
Oh, say, can you? You get it.
Now, less is more. Right? They got mad at her for. She should have turned that whole gig down. That's for sure. That didn't help.
Her and Jane Fonda.
Right. If they ever offer you a chance to sing a national anthem, say no, thank you very much. That is a trap. I mean, look at Aretha Franklin. Oh, say, can you sure by the door? That was a 14-minute, version she did. That's probably the most overused joke in comedy. I've heard at least 20 comics do a bad version of the national anthem. I'm serious. That is a bad. So don't do it in comedy either. It's already been done. Well, you got me. So I've already explained to you folks out there in Linda Marcus Smith land that I don't look like these people that I'm gonna do. So turn your head if you want, because all you're gonna see is the Big Lebowski. That's all you're gonna see. You're gonna see. What the fuck is wrong with you, man? This has nothing to do with Vietnam. So I do know if I was gonna do an impersonation, which I have done impersonations, I look like Jeff Bridges.
Yes, you do.
And I've been told by the real dude, my friend Jeff Dowd, who Jeff Bridges portrays in the movie The Big Lebowski, the real Big Lebowski, said that he's never met anyone that sounds or looks as much like Jeff Bridges as I do.
Wow.
So if I'm going to look like somebody, it might as well be my favorite actor of all time, Jeff Bridges. So, yeah, I look like the dude, man. And, it's just like your opinion, man. It took me about 2 years to be able to, even come close to doing the dude, man. I mean, what the fuck is wrong with you? It has nothing to do with Vietnam. I mean, I love you, man. But you're a fucking moron. You gotta have that fluidity. So, we were talking about our president, and I'll tell you what, yeah, we're going through some crazy stuff, and let me tell you, from the dude's perspective, this aggression will not stand, man. This aggression, won't stand, man. The dude minds. So,
Drew Yerkish wants you to do an impression of Gary Busey.
Well, I will be doing an impression of Gary Busey. In fact, I'm very well known for my impression of Gary Busey. I used to do Gary Busey regularly on Fraser Smith's podcast for years and KLOS, to the point where people thought that was Gary Busey and not me. In fact, the crazy thing was, I got word from Gary Busey that I am the hands-down best Gary Busey impressionist in the world. Gary Busey said that himself. So
wow.
That's Gary Busey.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, Jeff Richards. I do the best. Thank you, Drew. Nice to see you, buddy. Here's my presidential impressions for you. I don't think I've ever done this many at once, because as I said, I'm gearing up for this one-man show. It's actually going to be a two-man show. Me and my buddy Warren Durso are going to do it together. Legendary comic Warren Durso. Yeah, I do Warren Durso. I do unfamous comics too. I do quite a bit of them. I do Greg Wilson. You know who Greg Wilson is?
Yeah.
Am I right? Come on, you guys. Hey. You know you do. Let's go get some cocaine, right? Am I right? Yeah, I can do, I can do unfamous comedians too. But so back to my president. President Trump, he's getting a lot of scrutiny right now. And what happened to the wall? He wanted to build a wall, but how the reporters are at CNN. They don't let him finish what he's got to say, and he's a soundbite president, a reality TV star. When he was trying to say that he wants to build a wall between our country and Mexico, they didn't let him finish. What he was trying to say is he wants to build a Walmart between our country and Mexico. That'd be great. Shoppers go home this way and workers go home that way. I just gave a shit ton of work to Mexico in that joke. So, thank you. But I do like President Trump because he's the easiest president to do an impression of. Of all the presidents we've ever heard their voices, probably going back to Woodrow Wilson, I think it would probably be one of the first ones. Of all those people that were president, those corrupt cousins, because they're all related to each other. I don't know if you know that, but look it up. 42 of the 45 presidents are related to each other by DNA, which makes you not living in a democracy, folks. You live in a monarchy, which is scary, which has turned into a tyranny. So anyways, our President Trump, he's an easy guy to do an impression of. Everybody out there, and Smith TV Land, you guys can do an impression of Trump. Here's how you do it. Very simple, Alec Baldwin. In order to do a Donald Trump impression, you just simply have to make your mouth a butthole. That's all you gotta do. Keep your mouth in the butthole position the entire time. Don't deviate from the butthole when you're doing it. Don't do it. Stay right in the butthole zone. Now you're doing me. Now you know how to do the president. You gotta stay right there in the butthole zone. Right there. Don't deviate from the butthole, Alec. Stay right there. That's how you do it. That's how you're doing me.
Oh, gosh.
And, Barack Obama, our former president, a little disappointed in Barry. He had the keys right in his hand. And a lot of people thought he did good for our country, but, I'm a little upset that he didn't leave on a high note, and by that, I was hoping he was going to say this. Michelle and Michael, we have served the American people now for 8 years. We've accomplished a great many things together as a nation. I'm very proud of that. But there is just one thing I need to do as your president before I leave this office. And that is legalize marijuana across the board. Snoop Dogg, you want to pass me that fatty blunt? My shizzle. Right? But, gosh, remember his predecessor, right? George W. We're gonna stop the terrorizers. I don't even know if terrorizer is a word. It's terrorizingly terrific. The way that the terrorizers, Osama, and gosh, I forgot the other guy. Somebody, Dick, you got a name for one of them are villains? Saddam. When Saddam. We're going to send out the United States Army to stop the terrorizers. And his predecessor, Slick Willie, right? I did not have sexual relations with that woman. And I could not have had sexual relations with that woman because I was with another woman at the time. Having sexual relations, and I can prove that. Slick Willie, right? And how about his predecessor? We've entered a new stage. I was the former director of the CIA. But now, I want to take over the world with a new world order. A new world order that's right and just, where the law of the land is my hand. Ooh, Herbert Walker Bush, that's a scary dude.
Scary.
How about Ronald Reagan? Oh my God. Most eloquently spoken president who didn't even know he was there. I ask you Americans today to vote for Ronald Reagan in your next election. But don't be like me and forget to vote. Very forgetful. And then poor Jimmy Carter. I'm just a lowly peanut farmer from Georgia. And I'll tell you what, I don't even know how I got the job. I think they gave me the job just to make fun of me. But whenever I'm feeling down, I drink some Billy beer. Would you like some Billy beer, anybody? Remember Billy Beer? Oh my God. His brother, Billy. Yeah, Billy Carter. He's got Billy Beer. Oh, and then of course before him was Gerald R. Ford. I'm your president. I'm only here by accident. And if Chevy Chase didn't make fun of me, I probably would be forgotten. I am not a crook. I'm the president. But rest assured, we're going to have a war on drugs. My wife, Pat, as you know, is addicted to alcohol, but that's not a drug. Right? How about, Lyndon Johnson? That's right, they call me Bird. I'm from Texas. I'm the president. Apparently, according to statistics, I've got the largest penis in presidential history. That is a fact. How about that, Lyndon B. Johnson? Whoa. He's like the Milton Berle of presidents. Deep penis. And then there's JFK. My fellow Americans, I will make plans with NASA to put them on the moon before the end of the 1960s, even if we have to film it with Stanley Kubrick. Right? So, yeah, people ask me, those are my presidents right there.
Wonderful.
People ask me where I get my impressions, like how do you come up with impressions? Well, a lot of times they come from my own real life experiences, For example, yeah, I do a Gary Busey impression because this really happened to me. I got into a motorcycle accident while not wearing a helmet. In fact, I was on the way to get a helmet when I got into a motorcycle accident. That actually happened. On the way to get a helmet, I got into a motorcycle accident. I can do an impression of Ice-T. That's right, I do motherfucking Ice-T. Because I grew up in South Central Los Angeles. That I can do. I can also do an impression of, I can do a fucking impression of Ozzy Osbourne. Fucking I know how to do it because I was the lead singer of a fucking heavy metal band for fucking 5 years. True. I can do a Matthew McConaughey impression. All right. Just like Matthew McConaughey, I'm a huge stoner. But what's weird is I can't do an impression of Christopher Walken, which is, I've tried to do a Christopher Walken impression, and I don't really do him that well. It's weird. The thing is, the reason why I don't do a very good Christopher Walken impression, because I've never had a gold watch shoved up my ass for years. All fiction joke, kids. So, I love to do the karaoke. You like to do karaoke?
I love karaoke.
So do I. But, don't just go up there and do the song in the style of the artist. Give the people and the DJ a little something to work with. Like what I do is I go up and I tell the DJ I'm going to do a classic song, but I do it in a style he does not expect. Like I'll go up and say, I'm going to do Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix, but when I do it as Sammy Davis Jr. Purple haze all in my brain. Lately things, they just don't seem the same, man.
That's like a whole nother level of impersonating.
Yep. And I like to go up there and tell them I'm going to do Van Halen, right? But when I do it as Frank Sinatra, Old Blue Eyes. I get up, nothing gets me down. I've seen the toughest around. Go ahead and jump. You know, I go up there, I tell them I'm going to do Bob Marley, but when I do it as Louis Armstrong. I shot the sheriff, but I didn't shoot no deputy. Oh, no. My favorite is I like to go up there and get wild and tell them I'm going to do some Buck Cherry. But when I do it as Elvis. Hey, you're crazy, bitch, but you fuck so good I'm on top of it. You know? One thing I love doing more than anything, Linda, is my celebrity impressions in front of the celebrity that I'm doing the impression. I haven't had a lot of opportunity. I did my Ice-T in front of Ice and Coco, and they Coco said he sound just like T. So, Law and Order, SVU, so.
Wow.
Some people I've been around, and when I worked with Cheech and Chong, when I got to open for Cheech and Chong, Cheech in particular really loved my impressions. He had me doing impressions for him. He was like, hey man, do McConaughey, hey, do Gary Busey. And he's like, man, you sound just like him, dude. I know that guy. I know Gary Busey. And Tommy Chong was like, yeah, man, he does a lot of impressions, man. That's what he does.
Wow.
That's Cheech and Chong. Yeah, because and Cheech was like, hey, I said, a lot of people don't know this, but two things about Cheech and Chong. For one thing, Cheech and Chong were originally the stars of Stripes, the movie Stripes. That movie was written for Cheech and Chong, not Bill Murray and Harold Ramis. It was originally written as Cheech and Chong going to the army. And if you watch the director's cut, you'll see they smoke weed in there, Bill Murray, and they take acid. That was supposed to be Cheech and Chong.
I'll be darned.
Cheech and Chong they were impressed that I knew that. They were like, well, hey, man, nobody knows that shit, man. That's crazy.
Wow.
And they told me the story. Tommy Chong said that Bill Murray called him 2 months after the movie was the #1 movie in the world, and he said, "Hey Chong, man, I wanted to tell you, man. You know that movie?" He goes, "Yeah, man, that looks pretty good, man. You're doing great." And Bill Murray said, "Yeah, you should have taken that fucking movie because it's huge."
Wow.
Yeah, and then so. A lot of people don't know, but Cheech and Chong were in a Martin Scorsese movie.
Really?
Martin Scorsese, what? They were in the movie After Hours, and they played Neil and Pepe. So I got to do my impression of Martin Scorsese directing Cheech and Chong for Cheech and Chong. I rarely have done this because not a lot of people knew what Martin Scorsese sounds like. Now they do kind of more than they did with The Irishman and stuff like that. So here's me doing Martin Scorsese directing Cheech and Chong. Okay, guys, here we go. We're getting ready to roll here. Getting ready for the next scene. Okay, Tommy, Cheech, come over here. In this scene, guys, you are not two stoners from the San Fernando Valley of California. No, you're not two stoners. What you are, in this scene, you are two hard-nosed criminals from the hard-nosed streets of New York City. Okay, have we got that? We ready to go? Yeah, ready. Roll them. Tommy, put down the joint. Cheech said, "Oh my God, dude, that's exactly how it was exactly like that, man."
Wow.
So, how about Quentin Tarantino movies? Like, why does he have to have the need to narrate, or even add a narrate? Like, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, there's Kurt Russell in it, and then halfway through the movie, Kurt Russell comes in and he's just talking. He's just telling you things that you don't even understand why he's narrating. Is he the character narrating, or is it just Kurt Russell? What the hell is going on? How about Hateful Eight? There's no narrator at the beginning. The Big Lebowski, to its credit. Once upon a time, way out west, there's a story of the dude. Now this dude, he called himself Lebowski. Dude, that's no name anybody would self-apply where I come from. Then, Sam Elliott, he did the narration through the movie, right? But Quentin Tarantino starts off Hateful Eight with no narrator. An hour and a half into the movie, he just out of the blue, he goes, "Okay, so here we are. Like, okay, we're at the cabin, and like, most people are gonna like try not to get killed, but things are happening. So we cut to a scene. I mean, he's narrating in his weird, like, cocaine-ridden style. Like, that's so bizarre, dude. Why did you abruptly narrate a movie and then not come back as the narrator? So, I'm learning a lot of things through this pandemic. I do a lot of deep research because I'm one of those people that just, I take the red pill. I can't be fooled. I need to know the truth. And I was an animator for 18 years.
What?
I used to direct mouth movements on cartoons, X-Men, Batman, you name it. I did it for 18 years. And what I did specifically is I directed mouth movements for cartoons. I've worked with John Travolta, Whoopi Goldberg, Chris Rock, Will Smith, you name it, Susan Sarandon, Ben Stiller, Billy Crystal. I've worked with the top people in the world, doing voiceovers. But one of them who I used to be impressed with working with, now I'm very disappointed because I found out too much information with him. Walter Cronkite. I got to work with Walter Cronkite on a show called Liberty's Kids. And that's the way it was. Sunday, April 19th, 2020. I'm so happy to be sitting here at the right hand of Satan. Did you know that Walter Cronkite's a Satanist? Yup. Scared the shit out of me.
What?
Oh yeah, I saw a video. Broke my heart. Broke my heart. He admitted that he is a Satanist, and so we know too much about Hollywood. And what if Columbo were here? I wish my favorite detective. Apologies to Kevin Pollak because I do Columbo too, but I just excuse me, Linda. This is a very we're in a very weird situation here with this pandemic, and I understand it's a very, very sensitive situation. A lot of people stuck in their homes and confused, and toilet paper is coming off the shelf like crazy. It's a very, very weird time to be alive, no doubt. But I do have some questions. Just one more thing, if you wouldn't mind. Just one more thing. So you're telling me that this coronavirus, as they're calling it, COVID-19, which Ovid stands for sheep, so in Latin, I don't know. It perplexes me. But I gotta say this. So we're to presume that this worldwide pandemic, with all due respect, it originated from a wet market in Wuhan, China. A guy ate bat soup, and all of a sudden we're stuck in our homes. I'm not really buying this. These are rotten vegetables, and I'm not interested in buying them today. But I do think we have ample evidence that this virus, if you will, did leak from a virologist study on, of all things, how weird is this, corona bat viruses? Yeah, in Wuhan, China. What the hell's going on? I think we need to talk to some Chinese communists about this. I don't know. That's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. So that's how we need Columbo right now. And
yeah.
I mean, I wonder how they're trying to keep us occupied with what they can offer us for viewing. Now, see, I'm one of those people. I hear people saying how bored they are. I've never been bored a moment in my life because I can always masturbate. That kills boredom immediately. So, I wonder how some of the great American TV families and TV shows would be dealing with this situation right now. Hi, this is Peter Griffin. I can't believe that I'm quarantined in Cohog. This is so weird. I'm stuck here in my family, and I don't like these people. This is weird. I haven't seen Joe or Quagmire in days. I wonder what those guys are doing. And now I'm stuck with a baby and a dog like all day long. This is very, very weird. Oh, you think it's weird for you? I'm stuck with you people in this terrible house. What the deuce is going on here? I mean, we're supposed to believe that this is a virus. Now we're supposed to stay in our homes. I mean, please, Brian, do you have anything to say about this? Well, studies show that the pandemic actually did come from lab in China, but I'm not really sure of that. I think we might need to do some more research for arresting people. So that's how the Family guys are handling it.
Oh my God.
And over at American Dad, it's like, listen, Stan Smith works for the United States government, okay? Listen, Francine, we've got a terrible situation here. We're supposed to be sequestered in our homes, but that's not going to be for long because I'm going to take the entire family up to NORAD. That's right, we're going deep underground. What do you think of that, kids? Hey, it's me, Jeff, Haley's husband. Hey, if we go up to NORAD, am I going to be able to bring some weed or what? Oh, yeah, bring a bunch of weed. That would be great. I'm Roger. You know what? I could just dress up as one of the military guys, maybe a military girl. Who knows? Maybe I could be transgender. They accept those nowadays, don't they? Right? Klaus? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm stuck in a fishbowl. This is terrible. Can fish get the coronavirus?
Oh my God.
And then there's the gang from South Park, right? Respect my sword time. Stay down. I can kill you guys. Listen, you guys. I don't think we should be staying in our houses. Right, Stan? Shut up, Cartman. This is real. People are dying out there. Right? They killed Kenny. Jimmy, isn't that true? Hey, you guys, can I get a what? Hey, I was going to do some jokes online, some streaming jokes, because I'm a stand-up comedian, right? Okay? Butters? You guys, this is Butters, and I just wanted to say to you guys, this is scary stuff. I don't even know why we're doing this. Why are we all stuck in our homes? They told me to wear a mask. I found out later because they thought I was ugly. Oh, man. Could you imagine, Mork from Mork dealing with this? Mork calling Austin, come in, Austin, get me the hell off this planet now immediately. Whoa. Tony Soprano? What they want us to be stuck in our friggin' homes? Look, I'm a friggin' mobster. I got a nightclub with strippers. Am I supposed to stay in my home like Big Pussy? So, couple more impressions for you. My favorite movie of all time is The Big Lebowski. Of course, The Big Lebowski is the best. But I thought, what if it was, directed by someone else? What if Mel Gibson directed The Big Lebowski? This time it's called Passion of the Dude. It's like, the dude getting crucified. Hey, man. Wrong guy, man. I'm not this Jesus dude. I'm the dude, so that's what you call me. Walter, get me down from here. Dude, I would love to get you down from there. I would love nothing more than to get you down from there. But it's Shabbos. Jesus, that's your name, dude. Shut the fuck up, Donnie. Dude, I can't get you down from there. I would love to, but it's Shabbos, the Jewish day of rest. I can't ride a chariot. I can't bake unleavened bread. I can't drink wine. And I sure as shit can't get you off of a goddamn cross. Fucking Walter, get me off the cross or I'm off the fucking bowling team. Passion of the Dude, Mel Gibson's. What if Francis Ford Coppola directed The Big Lebowski? He kept Jeff Bridges, but this time he replaces John Turturro with Al Pacino. Could you imagine that?
No.
Are you ready to be fucked, man? It's real, man. I see you rolled your way into the semis. Liam and me, we're gonna fuck you up. Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man. Let me tell you something, Bendejo. You try any of that crazy shit with us, you flash a piece out on the lane. I'm gonna pull it away from you and stick it up your ass and pull the trigger till it goes. Hoo-ha! Great audience, by the way.
Oh, serious.
So this is my big grand finale. What a world we live in now. Not only, 6 months ago, the only things we were worried about were clowns, masculine toxicity, and being mean to an Australian midget. I mean, now it's like, what the hell's going on with the world, right? We got bigger things. And it's so bad. I mean, the TV programming, the Masked Singer and Legos, the Legos challenge. What? We have adults playing Legos on TV for entertainment? I mean, don't get me wrong, I fucking love Legos, okay? Especially when I was 9. But, like Legos movies. My roommate tried to get me like, well, what's wrong? You don't want to watch a Lego movie? I'm like, no, I don't want to watch a Lego movie. Just like I don't want to watch baseball. I'll play it, but I don't want to watch it. No. So when they get done making all the shitty Lego movies, they're gonna make the ultimate Lego movie. Legos Expendables, starring Sylvester Stallone. Yo, I'm gonna need you guys' help on this one, alright? Yo, Artie, you gonna help me? Get down! I'm the Dominator, and I'm going to destroy the Legos with the power of the Terminator. Gary Busey. Look, you guys, you know that Lego means letting everything go on? Jason Statham. I don't like Legos. I don't like children. But I certainly don't want to be in no fucking stupid Lego movie. Ice-T. I hate motherfucking Legos. My kid left one of those motherfuckers on the floor once. I stepped on that shit on my foot for a week. Yo, fuck you, Lego. Yo, fuck you, motherfucker. I know you killed that little girl. Seth Rogen. I don't know if you guys saw Green Hornet. I mean, I'm not an action hero guy. Ozzy Osbourne. There's no fucking reason why we should be in a Lego movie. Sharon! Chris Hemsworth. I think we all know I'm way too good looking to be in this movie. Patrick Warburton. Yeah. I don't know if you guys watch Seinfeld when I was putty. Yeah, I was the gay guy in 10. See that? Gilbert Godfrey. It's not so bad that I have to be in a Lego movie. But the Sylvester Stallone movie? No, I cannot. Former President Barack Obama. I think Michelle and I, we're going to go ahead and sit this one out. Joe Biden, you want to take over? And as your president of Legoland, Donald Trump. As your president of Legoland, my first order of business, I just want to thank all the people of Legoland, including the Weebles. They wobble, but they don't fall down. Very important. We appreciate that. My first order of business as your president, we're going to go ahead and build a Lego wall around the country. I know that's a good joke because I've seen about 20 memes made after my Lego wall joke. So,
that's a great joke.
Get out there. If I haven't accomplished anything, Linda, I've certainly written great jokes that other comics have stolen.
Exactly.
David Spade has stolen my jokes. Tommy Chong, Tom Cotter. I'm debating on even my hero George Carlin. There was a joke I'm pretty sure he got from me, and he was still alive when I was doing jokes. So, but it's weird. I've seen so many of my jokes reused by other comics, and they think because I'm not famous, it's not going to matter. So
exactly.
I'm watching you guys, and the weird thing is Joe Rogan made his career really. I call it his almanac, just like in Back to the Future. If he didn't make fun of Carlos Mencia for stealing jokes, which Carlos Mencia does, and has admitted, if Joe Rogan didn't do that, he probably wouldn't be the Joe Rogan we know today. He probably wouldn't be as famous, right?
Exactly.
Or would 10 of his other friends, Ari Shaffir, Rick Ingram, and Tony Hinchcliffe, and Theo Vaughn, all those guys, they jumped on his bandwagon and followed Joe Rogan. Well, what if I were to tell you and the rest of the world, I could prove that Joe Rogan stole a joke from me?
Wow.
But you know what would happen if I told the world that? I would get so much hate mail from people going, that's not true, Joe Rogan never did that, you're just a hack, you're just a thief. So this is why I'm disillusioned with Hollywood, because Joe Rogan knows he steals jokes, and yet he made his career by telling people that Carlos Mencia is a joke thief, so they think Carlos Mencia is crap, and Joe Rogan's cool. So it's a big, it's dangerous out there, folks. If you want to be a comedian, you got to know all these tough things. There's a lot of compromises that they're going to ask you for, and you get to decide how much of your soul you want to sell.
That's so true. I was going to ask you before we wrap up, I was going to ask you what you have to say to the younger comics, that are coming in way after you started. That would be one thing, to know it's a real rough business, rough and tumble.
Yeah. Don't listen to a lot of other people. Listen to your own inner voice, If it's funny to you, it's funny. Don't worry about if it's funny to other people. Make sure that it's funny to you first. If your own jokes make you laugh, then sometimes I will look back at a set of mine and go, wow, I've got some great material.
Yeah.
I'm really a good joke writer, And that's the other thing too, is don't fool yourselves. If you're going to be a comedian, comedy is writing and editing. It's writing and editing and writing and editing. It's not the people that say, "Oh, I'll just go up there and be funny." Well, that doesn't last very long. And even Robin Williams, who seemingly was spontaneous, he had a backlog of other jokes that he bought from other comedians, including our friend Stephen Pearl, which we know very much.
Yes.
And Stephen Pearl got to the point where Robin Williams was stealing so many jokes from him, he said, look, we're going to have to work something out here. Either you're going to buy him or I'm going to out you as a huge thief.
Exactly.
It's going to be. And so Robin decided, I'll be your friend and buy your jokes. How's that?
Wow.
And I write jokes for other famous people. I've been writing jokes for Fraser Smith for many years on KLOS, and yeah, I write jokes for other comics, and I've told that to Tommy Chong after he stole my joke on national TV on Dancing with the Stars. I said, I saw you used my joke, and I said, now my idols are going to use my material, and he said, well, I had to do it. I said, well, if you ever have to do it, pull out a checkbook, hire me. I'll write a Cheech and Chong movie. I could write your act in my sleep.
Exactly.
It might even be a new direction for them if they allowed me to do it.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to announce here before I go, tomorrow I haven't even announced it yet, on StreamYard, in conjunction with the Ventura Harbor Comedy Club Live, my buddy Andreas Fernandez, the owner of Ventura Harbor Comedy Club, and I are going to be putting on a 420 Comic and Friends 420 special.
Oh, that's so cool.
At 4 p.m. If your listeners and viewers don't know what 420 means, it's just another word for saying pothead, weed, ganja. However, tomorrow's a national holiday for us, and being sequestered was not what we expected. This is the first 420 ever, and what's funny is I'm the 420 comic. I'm just glad nowadays people know what that is, because for years people were like, why are you calling yourself the 420 comedian comic? That's what it was. But my birthday is on Friday. I turn 52, and the date on that is 4/24/20. Say that, and you say 420 twice.
Wow.
24/20.
Wow. Happy birthday.
Thank you. I made it to feeling good about it. I think I'm in the best shape I've been in years. I really feel confident about the future. I know this sounds strange, but a lot of people that know me know that I talk about and think about apocalyptic things often, which is not macabre. I just am fascinated by that genre. And I've joked about with you even that the apocalypse is my retirement plan. It really was, because the whole thing is I couldn't see myself becoming a billionaire, but I can certainly see billionaires becoming as poor as me.
Oh, this is so funny and so real.
It's true. And so real. And the other thing, too, is I feel like I'm on an even keel now, because here I am doing comedy from my living room. And you know who else is doing comedy from their living room? Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers, Jimmy Kimmel. We're all in the same boat, gang. So it's the playing field has leveled out. You're just as broke as I am.
That's right.
Who's a headliner now?
When I see Fallon and Kimmel telling jokes and nobody laughing, a little sick part inside of me kind of feels good. Like, I'm glad they get to remember what it's like.
Right, and you know what? They don't have an audience to manipulate us into thinking they're funny jokes. Because as much as I like John Oliver, which I do, the moment I saw him without a laugh track or without fans in the audience, he just wasn't nearly as funny. John Oliver, whom I love, who I find very, very funny, right? John Oliver, he just was not very funny, because he sounded like this. Trump is a maniac. He sounded just like a lunatic in his own home. And you know, I miss more than anybody. Didn't do him yet, but I'll do now. Is Jim Jeffries? It's too bad they took him off the air, because right, Jim Jeffries is probably one of the most outspoken comedians out there, right? And because he's not afraid to use the word cunt. But today, of the comics today, I would say, and one of my favorite all around, are you having a laugh? Ricky Gervais, right? Ricky Gervais. You got to love Ricky Gervais, right? Steve, David Brent from, I don't know if you watch The Office, right? The Office, right? You ever see it, right? He's the English Office. You should. Have you ever watched the American Office, right? Yeah, the English Office, right? He's so much better. Right? He's so, right? Doobie, smoking a doobie. Doobie. That's how they do it, right? Yeah. I like it. Like the Kush. You see, like at the Golden Globes, he destroyed everybody, right? You're all pedophiles, I know. Look, stop it. We know. You're all friends with Jeffrey Epstein. We all know. Look, stop. No, shut up. I don't care. He's so great. I love Ricky Gervais.
Me too.
Shout out to Ricky Gervais. And one last one. Hey, shout out to my buddy George Lopez. Okay, George Lopez. I like the guy, man. He's my favorite comic. Today, bro. You gotta love George Lopez, right, man? He's such a great guy. Hey, George Lopez was the guy that told me to be a pop comic in 2003, man. He told me, hey, you gotta be a weed comic, man. That way you get to work with Cheech and Chong, man. So that's my George Lopez is working on it.
Wow.
But, this was fun. I probably did about 35 impressions today for you.
At least. Oh my gosh. At least.
So,
thank you.
Than others, but they all get the same treatment.
They're all hysterical, and like some people in the audience will connect with one and not another. So that's the beauty of having a wide array like you do.
Yeah, and I get to slip in some subversive things in between every now and then.
I know.
Get some stuff off my chest as the character. So, I have been inspired. I might be doing an impression-fueled podcast coming up. For years, people have been saying, when are you going to do a podcast? Why don't you do a podcast? I just didn't want to be like everybody else, which your show is not like everybody else, thankfully. But I just didn't want to have that standard, format of two people sitting there with microphones staring at each other. My business partner, Chris Chiari, has come up with something brilliant. So King of Quality Productions, that's the company I'm involved with. We're probably going to be putting together a podcast that tackles some conspiracy theories, but with an impressionistic bent to it.
Oh, I want to hear this.
Yeah, because you know what's funny is in this time period, I've been called a Bernie bro, I've been called a Trumper, I've been called an asshole, I've been called a conspiracy theorist, and just to let people know, conspiracy theorist is a derogatory term coined by the CIA to shut people up about the JFK assassination.
Wow.
So when you call someone a conspiracy theorist, you might as well be an idiot or stupid or because it's a derogatory term. But conspiracy theorists are people like myself that we think that everything is a theory. So we want to know the truth, and we're not going to rest. And why would there be a conspiracy? Because they're doing things in a secretive way. For example, we're worried about 5G. There's a lot of people worried about 5G going up. I stepped out yesterday, and in my neighborhood, there's about 10 5G towers, all within a mile radius. And you know the crazy thing is, if 5G isn't dangerous, then why are they putting it up in the middle of the night like thieves in the night, like rats scurrying behind our backs?
Wow.
If it's not bad for us, put it up in the middle of the day when we can see construction guys working on it. But no, you wake up, you drive out, we're all in our homes, so we don't see it. We go to the supermarket, you look up, wow, that tower wasn't there last week. No, it wasn't, because while you were snacking, they're changing your world. So, folks, pay attention a little bit. So
Wow.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I've coined a new phrase for myself. I'm a truther.
I like it.
Truther. Yeah.
Thank you so much for this interview, and I'm going to let you go. And where can people send you Venmo or Cash App?
They can send me to PayPal, and my contact is the420comic@gmail.com. THE420COMIC@gmail.com. Anything would help, folks, and I really appreciate that. And I want to do a shout out to Diana, Darling Diana, who's a comedian out of LA, who put out a post, if any comics need any help, let me know. She sent me a very generous gift,
Wow.
and I really appreciate that. So comedian Diana, Darling Diana, you rock.
Oh, that's so cool. It gave me chills. Thank you so much, Jeffrey Peterson. Jeffrey Peterson, you guys. So get on there to the 420comic@gmail for his PayPal. Thank you so much.
Tune in tomorrow, 4 p.m. on StreamYard.
Wonderful. Bye, Jeffrey. I'll go write it down. Bye.
Okay.
Love you lots.